I'm Carol Talbot, the creator and founder of the Possibility Hub, taking you beyond the boundaries of who you believe yourself to be and opening up to new possibilities. What gives me a buzz is to make people think and feel differently, to experience the world differently. I love learning, and as a seeker and explorer, I've travelled far and wide, spending over 30 years studying with many wonderful teachers and masters, learning to utilise many different tools, many different techniques to create rapid shifts. I'm the author of You, the Divine Genius, and my passion, my desire, is to create opportunities for an expansion of awareness and consciousness, to allow you to step into a fuller focus of who you really are. This podcast is an advocate for awakening, encouragement, and supporting the development of your superhuman abilities. Just imagine how your life would change if you lived in an open state of awareness where anything is possible. In this episode, I'm in conversation with the wonderful Zoe Henderson, a very special intuitive healer, horse whisperer, author, aromatherapist, and the founder of 2 essential oil brands. Now, very early on, Zoe realized she could psychically read people. However, it was really only when she opened her first beauty and aromatherapy salon that her holistic healing began, as she discovered that clients were inadvertently being healed during treatments. She now has an international client base, and actually I got to meet her many years ago here in Dubai when she was working here and staying with a friend of mine. I then went on to discover she lives very close to my UK home, and we've been friends ever since. Now, Zoe is one of those people who's always busy. And the reason she's always busy is because she's incredibly generous with her time, and one of the most gifted and powerful hands-on healers that I've ever come across. So welcome, Zoe. I'm so happy you're here and I'm excited to talk to you. I want to dive right in. So I know that you have an affinity with animals and have always had an affinity with animals. And I'm curious to know when you've discovered that you could actually communicate with them, and not only communicate, you could heal animals, because you were brought up in Scotland. Is that right? Surrounded by lots of animals.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, Daddy was a doctor, and we had quite a large house in Scotland. He had his surgery in the house, and he absolutely adored animals and reptiles. So every time he went on his visits in the car to different places, if there was an animal maimed along the way, he would pick it up, whether it's a hare, a rabbit, a bird with broken wings, or a cat, a dog, whatever it was. He would pick it up, put it in the boot of his car or on the back seat, whichever it was, and bring it back home and stitch it up, splint the wing, whatever that was as well. And then we had a room at the top of the house, which was huge. It took across the whole of the house, and it was used as an animal hospital. And of course, and I started actually at 4 years old when Daddy was bringing the animals in, just going with Daddy, and he would say, "Would you like to hold this one while I stitch it up?" And I said, "Yes, please." So I was holding the animals, or holding the bird while he was doing a splint on the wing. Whatever he was doing, I was holding the animals, and sort of more or less cuddling them and saying, "You're going to be fine. It's all right. You're going to be better." Chatting to the animals and calming them down, and then taking them up with Daddy into the top of the house and putting them in their little place in that room. So up in that room, we had masses of animals, and funny enough, they all got on well together. Not all were there at the same time, but we actually collected 18 dogs. Well, we didn't actually collect 18 dogs because my mother bred Chihuahuas. Oh. And she was showing her dogs in Crofts, but she couldn't get rid of them. Every time they bred, she wouldn't let them go. So we had 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You had all these different animals, and yet you have a very strong affinity, not just to all animals, but specifically to horses.
yes,
Now, I'm
yes.
assuming they weren't kept in the upstairs room.
No, they were in the garden, and they used to walk. One or two of them would walk through the back door into the kitchen, because we had a couple of stables there. I used to do. I was riding since I was 4, and then I was doing one day eventing cross country and show jumping and dressage, and I absolutely adored my horses. And if they were sick and they were lying in the stable, I would lie with them all night, just lying with them and cuddling them and healing them. So I suppose some of the first healings I did was with our dogs and the horses, but we had many different animals that we collected, like a seal, 2 alligators, parrot, chimpanzee, and it was like a Dr. Doolittle family, because Daddy was very friendly with the owner of Edinburgh Zoo, and every time he took us as little girls from 4 onwards, the owner would say, "Oh, doctor, I've got this sick alligator, don't know what to do with it. Look at this, come and have a look." And Daddy would say, "Oh, just give it to me, I'll take it home." So we used to take animals home from the zoo as well. And it was hilarious, because snakes would be slithering around the house and landing in your beds or in the loos. And the chimpanzee would be sitting on top of the sill of the front of the surgery door and jump down on the patients when they came in. I mean, it was like a sitcom, but of course this was our norm, so we didn't think anything about it.
And of course, you said your father was a doctor, a medical
Yes,
doctor for
yes,
humans, not animals,
yes,
and he just
yes,
had a love of animals, but he wasn't specifically a vet, and just transferred it over.
yes, absolutely. It was magic.
So when did you discover that you could communicate with animals, even though, as you said, from 4 years old, you were doing it naturally? So when did you discover that you could actually communicate with them and realize that that wasn't, what everybody else was doing at that
Yes,
time?
yeah. Well, it was sort of a natural progression from age 4. And then when I was in the horses and doing eventing with my horse, he just knew, and I knew he knew everything that I was saying. And I got a response back from him: "Don't worry, you'll be fine." Because I used to not dump, you shouldn't dump your problems on your animals, but I used to have discussions with him.
So
And I'd get
how
the
did that
answers.
work in terms of, having discussions with him? How does the information come back to you? Were you talking out loud sometimes, or was it telepathic? How do you receive the information from the horse?
Telepathic,
And
mainly.
when you say telepathic, do you hear voices? Do you get a feeling? Do you get a sense? Or is it just information that you just have that sense of knowing?
It's all of that. You have the feeling, you feel it, and you hear, like it's like a voice in your head coming from them, and the words coming in. But you can also see movies as well. So it's a combination of everything, and you just know it. You just know all this information is coming into your head from them. You just feel it, know it. It's a knowing, actually.
And is it so obvious that it's not your own voice just making things up? Because
Yes.
that's a question
Yeah.
many people have.
Yes, exactly that. Yes, you have that feeling that this is absolutely right.
So now, when you're doing hands-on healing for animals, and particularly, I know you often go down to the stables and have worked with, race horses and all sorts of other creatures as well, but specifically with horses.
Yes.
When you're doing healing, is it the animal communicating with you to tell you what's wrong, or are you bringing in other guidance? How do you know what's wrong and what they need
Yes.
healing?
Yeah. Right. Well, when I put my hands on a horse, for instance, because I do the pre-Olympic ones here, and I do actually quite a lot of horses in Paris by Zoom, it works exactly the same way. It's just as powerful. I tune in with the horse, whether I'm hands-on in the stable or doing it on the Zoom, and then I see a picture of I've got my hands on, and I see a picture underneath my hands of what's going on and what's wrong. And then I can say to the owner beside me, right, okay, I see this. For example, I was doing a horse in Paris on Zoom, and she said that he was going to have to have an operation under his hoof, and it was quite bad. And it was going to be in 5 days' time. And I said, well, hang on, can I have a look? So just take me into the stable. So she took me into the stable and turned the hoof upside down. I said, oh, I can see this, and described some broken bits and other things, and a picture of things in under his hoof. And she said, oh my goodness, that's exactly what the X-ray shows. So I said, shall I do it then? And she said, you've got to be kidding. And I said, no. So I just went in and I saw what I was doing. It was like going in with tools that you use in proper surgery, human surgery. And I went in and took out that bit of bone that was fractured there or cut there. And then I sort of cleared it all up and blah, blah, blah. So then I told her afterwards what I'd done. I said, okay, it's done. And she said, seriously? And I said, yep. But get the vet to do an X-ray before he goes into the operation. So that's exactly what happened. And when the X-ray came back, it was absolutely clear. And the vet said, that's impossible. There's nothing there. So it's that sort of thing that I do hands-on and on the Zoom as well. So both ways. I get pictures. I get pictures when I'm looking at the hoof or the back or his head. And that's the other thing, of course, is with the animals, they hold traumas.
Interesting.
So they've got a problem, and say it's something to do with the performance of the horse in dressage, for instance, and he's just not doing a particular movement with his legs, and I will go in and find out. And I thought, well, wait a minute, there's something here. And she said the left leg's weak sometimes. But I don't know why, but he struggles with that. Then I said, well, wait a minute, there may well be a past trauma that's still there, and it's a reminder of. So then I can go into the horse's head, and actually very often I will use EFT, emotional freedom technique, with the animals as well, because that's brilliant on animals. So I'll go into his head and I say, okay, let's just find out where the trauma was, what's happened here. And then I can get a movie of maybe when he was a foal and he tripped over on a stone and hurt his left leg or something like that. But I will see a movie that gives me a clue to why it's still there, the memory, and it's acting out in his body. So then when that happens, I go in to the energy field of the horse and see if I can see the actual movie of what happened at the beginning. Then I see the movie, and then what I do, I can do EFT with them to get it out, or I can do re-imprinting and get it out, or just do the clearing of the energy field. It's a bit more complicated like that, but it's just I'm given a movie and I can see what to do.
And then do you get permission from the animal, the horse, to make those shifts and changes? Are you communicating with the horse the whole time in terms of what's going on?
Yes, yeah. I'm speaking to him the whole time and saying, it's okay, I'm doing this, and can I do that? And I can put my hands here. And it's always a yes, please, yes, please.
And
but
what is it that you believe? Like, what is it that you believe is assisting you? I know you work in the angelic realms.
Yes.
Or do you believe that you're tapping into a kind of unified field where all that information is available? And if so, how come you can do that and other people find it challenging?
Yes, well, everybody can do it, by the way. But anyway, yeah, I just tune it. It's the angels, because I work with I've always been working from angels ever since I was 4 years old, and I always knew my guardian angel was with me, and mummy, you know, she was half Irish, half English, and she always believed in fairies. I mean, her 18 chihuahuas, she used to call them as angels with dogs' clothing, or fairies with dogs' clothing. And she could see things. She could see fairies and angels. So it's been passed down a bit there, I suppose, as well. Yeah.
Now,
angels.
Now you believe that everybody can do this.
Yes, they can.
So how do people start developing this gift to communicate with animals, or to tap into that field to access different information?
Yes. Well, the main thing is to clear your mind and just empty it. And then meditation. Actually, I've got a course in my website for the animal communication, just the beginner's course. It takes time. You just got to be in a calm place, empty your mind, and feel it. It's just making sure that you're empty and just feel the feelings and hear whatever it is. You'll see movies. But the thing is, people question. They question. You've got to be really, really peaceful. Yeah, but I can't do it. I can't see this. How do you do it? I said, well, you have to empty your mind first, and then things will come in. Just know it and allow it. And don't stuff your mind with saying, yeah, right, I can't do this. How can I do that? You know, you've just got to empty. It's like going into a meditation, basically.
Now, you've traveled all over the world and lived in different parts of the globe, and done many different things. You know, from when you were 4 years old and started communicating with animals and having this affinity with animals and doing healing. So what was it that brought you back to doing this full time, with working with people as well as working with animals, and moving more fully into the healing realms? Was there a sort of pivotal moment in your life when you thought, yes, this is really what I want to do?
Well, it was always there from the beginning, but I went into all sorts of different things as well. But then when I moved overseas, and then we went to, you know, I was in Bahrain for 10 years, Singapore for 10 years. This is through, you know, with the family we went, with my husband's job. It was when I moved away, there were so many people and animals in the different countries. And of course, I'm in a different place, and I thought, what am I going to do? And I knew that I was going to go fully into the healing then. But years before that, I did a beauty therapy course when the children were babies, basically, because I knew I couldn't work out just because I would be at home with children. And I had my own clinic in my house. We had a speech house, so we had a clinic there as well. So it was when I was doing the people there coming in for aromatherapy, because that was my thing that I was doing. I specialised in that. People kept saying, you know, they came in with a pain or they didn't feel well. And I said, well, we'll just heal that at the same time. So that was happening automatically. People were coming out of the aromatherapy treatments and saying, the pain's gone. Or phoning me up and saying, the stomach problem I had is gone. You know, so I knew then that it was working. I didn't intentionally try and do it per se, just saying we're doing healing, but it was automatic. I thought, well, we'll just heal this at the same time. But it was automatic. So then I knew I was on that path. And then when I moved overseas, I did it with animals and with humans, as well as the aromatherapy.
Is there a difference working with humans as opposed to working with animals? Because I would imagine there's much more resistance that comes up when you're working with people.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, their own resistance and thoughts about what's possible or not. And I also know, and I've heard you talk about that, do you have a kind of medical team that's working with you or alongside you when you're working with people, or is it just the angelic realms coming in with the information you need?
Yes, well, it's the angels predominantly. However, sometimes when I'm doing the surgery, I will ask people to come in. I mean, Daddy comes in. My daddy was a doctor, of course, so he comes in Mummy comes. I get loads of people or that come down, and my guardian angel's there because sometimes I ask him to help. But yes, so I do get help that way.
And I know that during lockdown, you know, you haven't been able to see people for hands-on healing. And I know the
Yes.
hands-on is so, so powerful. You know, it would have to be a real skeptic not to feel anything.
Yes.
I know that you've been finding that you're getting amazing results working remotely. And I know that because you've helped my mother no end in terms of last year when she went through a particularly challenging phase, and she couldn't, although she lives quite near you, and she couldn't get to you. So you were able to work with her remotely with tremendous results. So how has that sort of changed for you in terms of hands-on as opposed to working remotely? And you've also shared, you know, how you've done Zoom sessions, you know, with owners of horses and things to help the animals.
Yes. Yeah. It's been absolutely amazing, I have to say, because I didn't realize how powerful it is on Zoom, the sessions on Zoom with the animals and people. But of course, when you're working with energy, it doesn't really matter, because energy is energy and energy is going through, and it's equally as powerful. It's nicer for people to come and have hands-on because they have the personal touch there. And having said this, animals, of course, are much easier because they accept and they just know what you're doing. And they're just saying, yes, please, Les, please do it, you know. And it is easier doing animals, but they of course are healers as well, as probably all animal owners know. When they're sick, say over they're emotional and they're upset about something, that dog or that cat will try and get into the solar plexus and either lie on the solar plexus, or the dog will nuzzle in. So yeah, nuzzle muscle. And so and cats, you know, they will literally sit on the place that hurts.
Yes, they're tremendous healers.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, my cat over lockdown is absolutely amazing, because you see, I've had so many, as one knows, over lockdown, there are a lot of serious illnesses out there apart from the COVID. So many people are suffering, and I've been doing a lot of work with sick people. And of course, it's all in my head at night. It's all in my head. I'm thinking, and then I'm doing distant healing for them as well. And when I get to bed, it's hilarious because my cat will sit on my head and go to sleep on my head, because it's healing all the thoughts of all the other people that I've had that have got problems that I'm doing healing for. So it's emptying me so I can go to sleep.
And that brings me round to a question I was going to ask, because I know I see a lot of healers who have taken on a lot of issues and a lot of energy from other people and find themselves drained and worn out. And yet I know every time I speak with you or we get together, you know, we always have a laugh. You always have such great energy, Zoe. And, you know, you've just said, you know, well, actually now my cat does the clearing of all the energy. And do you have specific protection or clearings that you use for yourself that you'd maybe advise other people to use to?
Yes.
We're in a time of a lot of, you know, being around many people who may be negative. So what do you do to keep your energy clear? And I also remember a time when you told me when, you know, you're very rarely unwell, except you were unwell at that time, and there was a horse that you needed to see. And you went anyway, even though you weren't feeling great. And as you gave healing to the horse, that also gave healing to you, that it was as if the energy was transmitting. And you said while you were doing it, it was like, no, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So my question is, what do you do to make sure that you keep your own energy field clear, other than putting the cat on your head?
Yes. Well, yeah, cat on my head is good. And horse, if I'm upset or feel unwell, horses always are a major thing. I just go straight to the stables. But what one can do, and I do this, I teach it every day, and sometimes I forget, but it's seriously important. When you get up in the morning, you put yourself in a white bubble. So you visualize like it's like a children's blow soapy bubble, it's clear. So you visualize that you've got a bubble, you're in a clear bubble. And that protects your energy field. It's like a barrier. It doesn't allow negative energy to come into you. An example, you're going to the supermarket and you think, right, I don't know what I'm going to get for supper, but I'll have a wander around, and full of energy, really looking forward to making whatever meal I'm going to make. Actually, I'm not a cook, so I'm not saying it's me, but other people. And so you're going along, and then you come out, you've done all the shopping, you get to the till, you put all the shopping in the car, and you're exhausted. You think that's funny because, I'm full of energy and excited. What's happened here, on passing, you're passing all the crowds in the supermarket, and there are a lot of people in there today, and some of them are sick, some of them have got negative energy. It's bounced on top of you through the energy field. So when you put your bubble on, it protects you, and you don't collect anybody else's negative energy.
And I think that's an area that many people forget, that we are energy, and that our energy field seeps into other energy fields.
Oh, yes.
So,
yeah.
You can lift other people, or you can be a downer, and that you're, subject to absorbing that all the time.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing I wanted to ask you about was, you said when you whether it's with people for hands-on healing through a Zoom session, or with animals and horses, it's this information is coming in, and you've talked about it sort of in your head, and then you imagine doing this and the surgery and what needs to be done. Is there anywhere else in your body that you feel that information come in? Or is it really all down to sort of mind mastery and keeping a still mind, as you said, clear the mind first? Does it start with mind?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you can feel things as well. You can feel it in your body, but predominantly it's in the mind, and it's pictures you get. And you feel it, but you don't feel uncomfortable. You just feel that's where it is. I mean, sometimes you can get, in the early days, if I was doing a human, say, with a headache or a sore arm, and by the time I'd finished, I'd get it. And you've got to be really careful with that, because you make sure you're protected before you do your patient. Otherwise, you can actually take that pain on.
Yes. Which leads me to, there are certain people that I know you've worked with where, the decision at a sort of higher level or deeper level has been to cross over. And this is an area that isn't often discussed, even though we all know that sort of we're not on an eternal life planet, that we are going to pass over. And I know you've worked with many, many people to help them transition, to pass over peacefully, and also worked with the families. And what is it that you were working with and doing then? Because to me, that's really powerful work to help people transition in a state and place of peace. With many people, it comes as a shock. They're not prepared. They don't know how to handle it. All the fears, the different emotions come up, not just from them and from their family as well. And I know that you work with many, many people and families. So can you share a little about that work?
Yeah. Well, the main thing is to realize that it's an honor that you are with that person. And souls choose who they want to be with when they pass over. And sometimes they won't be with their family for whatever reason. Well, for not whatever reason, because they don't want that person to be there. It's not that they don't love them; they love them very much, but it's easier for them to be away. Whatever reason they decide to go with whichever family member, it's for a reason, for the best for the family member.
Yeah, I've read that often people will wait till they'll say, oh, go and get a glass of water. Or,
yes.
Can you get me something from home? And the person disappears. And within those moments that the person is gone, that soul, that person will choose to cross over.
Yeah, that happened to me exactly that. I was in hospital with a friend of mine, and we were going to his father that was nearly going, we thought. And so we were both in the room, in the private room in the hospital with him. And my friend said, I'm just going to pop out to collect my mother now and from the house, and then she'll come back with me. And I said, okay, fine, see you in 20 minutes, whatever it was. And then as soon as he left, and I was there holding the hand of his father, and I thought, oh, okay. And I knew exactly what was going to happen. And it wasn't time for myself to go out and call him back, because by that time he'd gone. And it happened quite quickly, and I thought, right, that's it. But it was an honour, and I was holding his hand saying, yes, go, just pass quietly if you're ready, that's fine. So, just a nice chat to say, have a smooth journey, I'm with you, helping you.
So is that what you do? You kind of like help them energetically and communicate telepathically with a higher level of their self to help them cross over effortlessly and easily.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
As you say, a privilege.
Yes, it is a privilege, and I've done it a few times, but not directly in the room, but in the hospital when the family were in the room of the patient, for instance. But yes, that was the first.
Now
it is a privilege. Yeah.
Now we've spoken about your affinity with the angels and your guardians. And I believe it was your angelic communications that also helped you create the beautiful angel oils that you
Yes, it was.
How did they come about? Because actually, I know you've kind of like really relaunched it, yet some of the blends have been around for some time. How did they come about, Zoe?
Yes, well, first of all, I created 20-odd remedies with essential oils in Singapore when we were living in Singapore, and I put them into 8 of the top hotels there, Raffles, Four Seasons, Ritz, Hyatt, just 8 of those, and they were hugely successful. And then when I left Singapore and came back to UK, so I've been in UK now for 18 years. I always kept my hero, which was sort of arthritis and muscle pains, etc., with me, and just did it privately here, just passed them out. And then I thought, then it was the angels saying, this should be out, because it's helped so many people. And I just had, and I kept saying to my daughter, we've got to get this out. We've got to do it, as a business and get it out. So this is exactly what we did, and we called it angel oil. And of course, the great thing is, and the secret ingredient is
not secret anymore.
No, the secret ingredient is the intention to heal. So while we're mixing it, we put that intention in to heal the purpose of that oil. But in actual fact, this angel oil works on most things.
And so how do people use those oils? Do they use them in a burner so that scent is burning in a room? Or do they place a drop on certain pulse points on the body?
Yes.
How are you advising people to utilize those?
Well, you put it on your pulse points anyway, because it works. Aromatherapy oil, essential oils work through the olfactory system. So when you're smelling it in, apart from putting on, when you're smelling it, it goes straight into the bloodstream and does its healing with the properties that it's got in the oil. So you can put it in a burner, but you put it on your pulses, and then you put it, if it's breathing problems, you put it on your chest, temples, definitely. So put it on everywhere anyway. And then if it's pulses, that's the pulses in your temples, wrists, and on your chest. And then if it's sports injury or arthritis, you put it on that point. And it's great for runners, absolutely great for runners. My son uses it for his marathons. He does everything else when his legs are knackered or just awful at the end. He'll just smother it on, and it's gone within 24 hours. The pain. I mean, it's just amazing. But you can use it on anything.
So really, in effect, because of the intention that you put into those oils,
it's a miracle. Yes.
Well, it's we've talked about hands-on healing with animals, and we've talked on hands-on healing with people and remotely, and now that remote energy you're putting with intention into those oils, and then they're also getting amazing results. So it just shows you the possibilities are endless when you're working with energy, and understand that energy is everywhere, and the power of attention and that mind focus. So is there anything else? I know we've covered a lot of different subjects in this short time we've had together.
Yes.
And I also, I'm going to let people know that they can get in contact with you through your website. You also have an amazing book called Hands On Forever, and there's some nice techniques, and they can learn more about you there. They can, you've got online courses. You also have some beautiful free meditations. There's is it the Golden Threads meditation?
Yes, yeah, that was
absolutely amazing. So I will make sure that I give out all the information. And before we finish,
bless you. There's one more thing. There was one more thing. Sorry, darling. With the oils, because we're about to launch another three oils, and it's going to be for menopause, and they're going to be in little roller bottles. So there'll be one for balancing the hormones, one for stress, and one for sleep. And those are the symptoms of menopause that one has. So they're going to be launching soon. So that the main ingredient and most important ingredient in there is the intention to heal.
And I think that's wonderful, because so many women of a certain age or going through the menopause end up experimenting with this tablet, that tablet, this supplement, extra hormones. And how wonderful when you can use essential oils, which, using the olfactory system, go into the system in a completely different way. So I have two more questions for you.
Yeah.
So the first one is, what possibilities has the work that you've done and gifted out into the world, what possibilities has all of this opened up for you?
Pretty huge, actually, because instead of in one place, we've gone sort of worldwide, basically. And now, with the connections, I mean, it's a chain effect, isn't it? It's a chain effect. So with somebody that I have from here, then I get somebody from Russia. So I've got people in every part of the world now. And also opening out to help, because I've done quite a lot of charity work in the last year with lockdown, to be able to help people, like on my free Zoom ones, to go in and have block bookings with healings coming in to help all the way around the world, people that are suffering. And it's not just physical, it's mental.
Yes, a lot. Well, it all starts in the mind. And I think you talked about that, the mind mastery is really, really important. My second question.
So it's reaching the masses, this is the thing, and being able to help everybody.
And as I said before, you were traveling here, there, and everywhere. And now I guess you've discovered that you can reach everybody right from your home with your beautiful cat.
Yes, but I'm still coming back to Dubai, where we've got clinic then, still going to
I
Geneva.
bet people are chomping at the bit. So the second question is, and final question, what possibilities do you think that the work and your gifts have opened up for other people?
It's the gift of knowing, if you like, of working with energy. Because every patient I've treated throughout the world, I've given them tools to help themselves and to realize that they're the most important thing, the values, which actually lockdown's given us anyway to realize our values. Our values are our family first, love and helping people.
I love that, because what you've said is, and particularly with the type of work you do, often you get people who come and say, fix me, heal me,
Yeah.
and they take no active interest or investment or participation in their own healing. And I love the fact that when you're working with people, and I use the word with, not on or for, and you said that with animals, that they're participating in their healing.
Yes,
Yes, please, yes, they're fully on board, that you're also giving them tools and techniques. So it's not leaving them helpless, that if they have a glitch again, they need to come back to you. And this is what you can do for yourself, because from what I've gained from this conversation is that you truly believe, whether it's communicating with animals, healing animals, this is something that we can all develop ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
And you realize that from the age of 4 that you were gifted with that. And interesting to note, you're a twin, aren't you, Zoe?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And I'm just curious, does your sister have these same abilities?
Yeah, she does, but I mean, she was a nurse, you see, in her career. So she has, but she doesn't use it as the way I do it, as my life.
Okay.
My life's purpose, my mission.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the Possibility Hub podcast. Really appreciate it. It's been an interesting session, and I'm excited for people to comment on this session and to get in touch with you if they've enjoyed it. There's so much more that we could chat about, and I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon. Congratulations on the newly relaunched new angel oils.
Thank you, Dan.
I'll make sure that everybody's got the links so they can also find out about the online course and start learning how they can communicate with their pets, with their animals.
Oh, thank you.
Recognize the possibilities that they have in their own energy field and their own hands. Thank you so much.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode with my guest, intuitive healer and horse whisperer, Zoe Henderson. Now you can find out more about Zoe and contact her through her websites intuitivehealer-horsewhisperer.com or at angeloil.co.uk. I'm thrilled to be sharing possibilities with you, and if you want more, then check out the links on thepossibilityhub.com. And if you feel that others can benefit from listening in, then please share, review, like, or follow on Instagram, Carol K. Talbot. And remember, you're always more than you think you are.